I have another comparison video today. You have $80 or between, I would say, $50 to $150 for a phone. And you see these three models here. You have the Moto G4 Play, the LG Tribute HD, and the Samsung Galaxy on5. So, yeah, let's get started. So, on the Moto, this usually has a black back, but mine had covers in it, so I put the blue back on. You have kind of a I don't know what the material is, but it feels pretty good. Got a textured power button on it. Pretty good feeling sides. They are plastic. And yeah, the phone, it feels pretty good in your hand. You gotta have the classic Motorola dimple on it, except it's kind of in the wrong place and doesn't feel really comfortable to hold it with. With the LG, you have kind of a slightly textured rear cover, that very thin phone. The earpiece is in kind of a strange place there. And you have the thin bezels. It's a very thin phone. Feels good. The camera lens doesn't protrude. On the Moto, it protrudes a little bit. Like very slightly, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. The camera protrudes on the Samsung very slightly also. But the Samsung, you have kind of this leatherish feeling back. You have this side, and then you actually have a home button on the Samsung. So yeah, now let's get into some of the similarities of these phones. Each of these phones is all of them run Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow. No Nougat here, but the Moto is supposed to be getting Nougat, where these two aren't. So, but as of for the moment, they all run 6.0.1. It's fine. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But another thing that's similar about these phones is that they all come with a, oops. What's happening? Stop. Okay. They all come with a 5-inch 720p display, although the best display here would probably be the Moto phone. It's not the sharpest looking screen, that would be the LG, but it's got the best viewing angles. What am I doing? The best viewing angles. Stop opening the camera. Yeah, it got the best viewing angles. The LG is the sharpest screen, but the viewing angles aren't quite perfect. In the Samsung, the screen doesn't look very good, and the viewing angles are kind of bad. So, I would say, if you're looking for a phone for YouTube videos and that, pick up the Moto phone, because not only does it have a front-facing speakers, where these phones have back-facing speakers, right there, but also it has the best display. So now that the back covers are off, we have different sizes of batteries on each one. The Moto phone has a 2800 milliamp hour battery. I mean, perfectly fine for almost everything. On the Samsung, you have 2600 milliamp hours, and on the LG, 2100 milliamp hours. All of these phones have a micro SD card slot, and all of these phones have flashes for their cameras. But now let's get into the software. The Motorola, or the Moto G4 Play, has pretty much stock Android on it, and it's good. And yeah, so pretty much stock Android, it's good. A little boring, but it's stock Android. And it's the most reliable out of these three, and yeah, there's that. LG has UX5 on the Tribute HD, and it's very responsive. Some of the things I don't like removing the app drawer, but it is a very nice OS to use day to day, and makes for a very good experience. And the Samsung runs TouchWiz. I don't mind it. Some people really hate it. I think it's fine, but something to think about. So, there's another thing. Well, now for the specs. We have a 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon 410 on the Moto G4 Play. On the LG, we have a Snapdragon 210 at 1.3 gigahertz, and also at 1.3 gigahertz. In the Samsung, we have the Samsung Exynos 3475 Quad. All of them are quad core, and another thing is, and there's a couple advantages to the Moto in the specs actually. These phones have 1.5 gigabytes of RAM. The LG has 2 gigabytes. The LG has 16 gigabytes. The Moto has 16 gigabytes, but the Samsung has 8 gigabytes. So that's kind of annoying. So yeah. And another thing is these have 5 megapixel cameras, and the Samsung has the Samsung and the LG have 5 megapixel cameras, and the Moto has an 8 megapixel camera. So if I was gonna say which one you should get, it depends. Oops. If you're looking for something that that will work, but if you're looking for something that is not going to break on you, this has a plastic screen so it won't break. If you're looking for a durable phone that you're going to drop a lot, go for the Samsung. If you want a phone that is going to work reliably all the time and you're going to be able to just use without much trouble, then you're going to want to get the Moto. And same thing with this phone, if you just want a basic phone to use, then you could get the LG also, but I think that the biggest advantage to the LG is that it's the cheapest phone here. You can get these for about $50, and it's the thinnest phone here, and yeah. So you can't go wrong with any of these. And these phones are going to be perfectly fine, but yeah, these phones are going to be fine for day-to-day usage most of the time. But the safest bet is the Moto G4 Play. You have an extra half gigabyte of RAM, a faster processor, and you're going to have access to Android 7.0 Nougat. So, in this comparison, it's really hard to choose between the LG and the Moto. So, yeah. Yeah. See you in the next one. Peace.